أعوذ بالله السميع من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir Qur'an wa the jewels of the Quran in pairs. We have reached Surah Al-A'raf, the heights, and the first session was pretty much a general introduction to this surah, the major themes. Imam Ghazali selected not many really verses from the surah, despite the fact that it is very long. We talk about 206 verses. All in all, probably around 10 verses only. In this session, we will deal with verses, inshallah, 29 to 31, except that I would still like to pave the way more by reflecting specifically on verses earlier than 29. A reminder that Imam Ghazali's selections, these jewels, these pearls from the Quran, he simply states these verses without commentary. So what we do here is an attempt to appreciate these verses, trying to understand why Imam Ghazali would choose these verses as much as possible. This is not definitive, but we'll do our best, inshallah. So in this, in Surah Al-A'raf, we have one of the themes is the creation of Adam alayhi salam, and an amazing thing is that Al-Jahid, who wrote many books, some would consider him the best author in Arabic. He wrote a book about animals, and it's not only restricted to animals. It's one will find probably more theological issues raised there. Some people would even entertain his books, looking for support to modern issues such as the theory of evolution, Darwinism, but that would be far-fetched nevertheless. But Jahad did say that for each species there is an Adam and Hawa, meaning there's a male and female, and I love this use of the Adam and Hawa, male and female, which means the beginning, whether one is a believer, talk about people who believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator, and He is. There are those who are atheists or agnostics. Nevertheless, we will not have human beings filling this earth without male and female, and all these tens of genders are practically nonsense. It has to be a male and female in order for to procreate and to fulfill the istikhlaf fil ard, this vicegerency. We don't talk about the political office that emerged after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, where Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was the first caliph, khalifa. No, we talk about the istikhlaf, doing all the positive things in every sector, in every aspect of our life. Talk about politics, talk about economics, talk about the social order, aesthetics, being informed by revelation. Still, we need to do all this, and this is really the story, of course, of racism. Also, the first story of racism in the universe, where the angels were asked to prostrate themselves to to Adam alayhi salam, except that Satan refused. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him why, he responded by saying, I am better than him. قال أنا خير منه خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. You created me from fire and you created him from mud. From mud, we have different verses in the Qur'an. من صلصال من حمأ مسنون من طين اللازب. At any rate, the hadith كلكم لآدم وآدم من تراب. All of you belong. You are the offspring of Adam alayhi salam, and he is from dust, from earth. So he considered himself better because of the material from which he was created. And from that moment on, because he was expelled from the garden because of his behavior, talk about Satan, and his self-image was problematic, and probably this is the grandiose, the false sense of pride, and probably Satan still wants the human beings to behave the same. So he was expelled. He asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be given time and until the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him that, and then he pledged to be on our path as human beings. لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ, and he pledged to come to us from between our hands, from basically from every direction, from behind and from our right and our left. And then you will not find most people thankful. And Imam Ghazali would say, not of course in the Jawahir al-Qur'an, but in Ihya Ulumuddin, Imam Ghazali would speak about this ongoing war between the soldiers of the angels and the soldiers of Satan, and the battlefield is one's heart. This is an ongoing struggle, a daily struggle. And we say daily struggle, we don't mean only when you are awake. Someone asked a scholar, does Satan sleep? He said, had he slept, we would have a respite, we would have a break. He doesn't. And Satan, when Adam alayhi salam and his spouse were warned against Satan, they were invited to enjoy the garden, to eat everything except for one tree. Imagine when everything was permissible for them except for one tree only, and nevertheless Satan whispered to them, Satan convinced them, tempted them, trapped them, seduced them, and the idea, he wanted them out of that state of felicity, and he pledged to them that he was sincere, and they fell for his scheme, and they tasted that tree. In verse 22, فَدَلَّاهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ فَلَمَّا ذَاقَا الشَّجَرَةَ بَدَتْ لَهُمَا سَوْآتُهُمَا وَطَفِقَا يَخْصِفَانِ عَلَيْهِمَا مِنْ وَرَقِ الْجَنَّةِ. So he brought about their fall through deception, and then they tasted of the tree. Their nakedness was exposed to them, prompting them to cover themselves with leaves from paradise, from that garden. Then the Lord called out to them, did I not forbid you from that tree? And did I not tell you that Satan is your sworn enemy? Any enemy could. The Quran speaks about that. The possibility of people changing their position is there. Okay, but not Satan. Not Satan. A sworn enemy, pledged enemy, forever and ever. And now, what did they do? Just to expand on this, they covered themselves with leaves. وطفقا يخصفان عليهما ورق الجنة, to cover their nakedness. In verse 26, we go back to the notion of covering the nakedness. يا بني آدم قد أنزلنا عليكم لباسا يواري سوآتكم وريشا ولباس التقوى ذلك خير ذلك من آيات الله لعلهم يذكرون. O children of Adam, we have provided you clothing to cover your nakedness and as an adornment also in addition. So you libasa yuwari sawatikum warisha. However, the best clothing is righteousness. This is one of Allah's bounties. So perhaps you will be mindful. Okay. So the scholars spoke about. We have three things here. We have the material that covers our nakedness. So there is a dress code, and one day, practically all women covered, and all men covered. Practically. They say الشاذ لا حكم له, the odd, this is not about the exceptions. This is about what was. I don't. There's. My late father, rahmatullah alayhi, was in London in the 50s, and there were demonstrations against wearing. This is not about going out naked or almost scantily dressed. This was about demonstrations in London against wearing pants, against women wearing pants. That was a shift at the time. And I remember someone writing about an American woman visiting them in France. And it was a remarkable thing that she was wearing pants. So we take things for granted and we think that people move around, and it's not. The issue is not the pants. The issue becomes things kept getting shorter, whether it's the pants or the shirts or the blouses and the dresses, and less fabric and more expensive. And we forgot that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided us through revelation to what's proper for us. So it's not the fashion, and I mentioned this before. It's not the fashion houses around the world in Paris, London, Rome, New York. That's not really, but the people do follow their guidelines for what is the fashion, how should we get dressed, in 2025. The dress code, because here libasa yuwari sawatkum, this is the covering the nakedness. The Muslims, the issues all goes back to Muslim women. It seems they need to cover their body, being modest, and the dress, whatever you call it, uh, should be overflowing, not figure hugging, and not the material says the fabric is not see through. One of the things that we have right now, these leggings, and there was probably a year ago, or so it's not very a Christian woman at Notre Dame in um Notre Dame. We have the university, but it's a church, a Catholic, it's a Jesuit institution, I think. So they are Catholics, and this Christian lady asked the young woman who came to church to mm, to stop wearing these leggings. They wear these leggings, of course, without any thing on top of them. To stop wearing these leggings to the church on Sunday to mass. And the following Sunday, there was a larger number of young women wearing the leggings, and men, young men, students, I would assume, in support of those young ladies. They did wear leggings as well, so they did not want anyone to interfere in the way they even dress to the church. So, lack of, and this is one of the places where people used to, wear good things, decent things, and on Sunday it seems not anymore. And you can see that some Muslim women, they cover their head, but they would, some Muslim women, I saw it on campus at Al-Quds University, some of them would wear leggings without even a jacket, without a not even a miniskirt. There is a dress code, and also this dress code, had it been the other way around, because, for example, the specific material, silk, is prohibited for men. Had silk been prohibited for women, you would the people would make an issue of it. The Islamophobes, the liberals, as they call themselves. It's the revelation. It's the Qur'an. Just don't forget that the very beginning of the surah does ask people to follow what came to them, what was revealed to them from their Lord, and uh, not to follow things that come, not to take their worldview from other sources. And I think it's اتبعوا ما أنزلكم من ربكم ولا تتبعوا من دونه أولياء. So the Islamic worldview, including the dress code, and that should be a settled issue. But still, Satan wanted to show them their nakedness, and Satan continues to do the same. And after the expulsion, we have this animosity between Satan and humanity. Going back to لباس يواري سوآتكم وريشة, the interpretation of Risha as adornment. So things that are extra, they are not meant really. Say putting a scarf, just simply because it's beautiful. It could be used because it's cold, but sometimes people might use it because simply an adornment. So the basic function of the dress code is to cover the nakedness. But if one is really shuttling between what should be the case, let me also add a word about the color of what people wear. It seems that the Prophet ﷺ liked the bright color white, For women, there was once, was it almost 20 years ago at Al-Quds University at the College of Qur'an, uh, so a lady from a da'iya, a preacher from outside the university, she came and she gave a lecture to the female students, and she gave them one option only as a color. She said black. That's not really even the uh, it does not take into consideration that the sound traditions about the colors that the female companions, the women companions of the Prophet ﷺ, including Lady Aisha, who did, radiallahu anha, she did wear al-mu'asfar. Mu'asfar is just like saffron. So it could be like orangish in color, and that's definitely not black. So some people become obsessed with the black color. In certain cultures, you just go to Malaysia, and women, the overwhelming dress, they have baju kurung, baju kubaya, some of the thing, the Malay cultural dresses for women. All of them are bright. All of them, they have colorful patterns. Men do wear things that we in the Middle East do not wear. Just look at the prime minister and the sultan during Eid or during celebrations. All of them wear bright colors. West Africa Muslims, they do wear bright colors, and at one point even black was associated, and still is, with mourning. Like when there's death in the family, it's a long issue, but it's modesty. And what is when all this discussion is followed by وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ, this is extremely beautiful. That it's really the garment, the clothing is of righteousness. This is a metaphor, because you don't wear physically, you don't wrap yourself, but this is something innate. But once you have righteousness as your there in your heart, and then what's outside is an expression of that innate the innate state. After this, we will. It makes sense right now to read verses 29, but we will go back to wearing our beautiful garments at mosque, because this should be understood against the background of the in pre-Islamic Arabia, men and women used to go, they circumambulate the house, the al-Bayt, al-Masjid al-Haram, the Kaaba. They used to circumambulate to do the tawaf naked, men during the day and women at night. But what we have here, let's read verse 29. قل أمر ربي بالقسط وأقيموا وجوهكم عند كل مسجد وادعوه مخلصا له الدين كما بدأكم تعودون فريقا هدى وفريقا حق عليهم الضلالة إنهم اتخذوا الشياطين أولياء من دون الله ويحسبون أنهم مهتدون. Say, addressing the Prophet ﷺ, my Lord has commanded uprightness and dedication to Him alone in worship, calling upon Him with sincere devotion, just as He first brought you into being, you will be brought to life again. There's something in عند كل مسجد, in worship, but really, of course, whenever you worship, practically it's about there are different forms of worship. Fasting is a form of worship. Zakah is a form of worship, but here we talk about عند كل مسجد, literally a place of prostration. The whole globe is one big mosque. The whole globe is one big mosque. You can pray almost everywhere. There are very few places where you cannot pray. We don't talk about making supplication, but with the formal prayer, bathrooms, you know, you talk about slaughterhouse, butchery, you talk about a cemetery, but the whole globe is one big mosque. It's where you prostrate. I saw a mosque simply marked in the sand in the desert by simply stones that were picked up from the environment, from the surroundings, simply marking a stone and really creating a niche. And it is beautiful. It's a place of prostration, and we should say it's عند كل masjid. This is why now, verse 31, against all this background, uh, we understand now this. يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد وكلوا واشربوا ولا تسرفوا إنه لا يحب المسرفين. We are still concerned with the first part of this, then we'll move to the first part. O children of Adam, dress properly whenever you are at worship. Whenever you go to a mosque, dress properly. Some scholars, they spoke about performing ablution, but that's given. You cannot really worship, pray, go to the mosque if you are not in a state of ritual purity. It could be wudu, it could be ghusl, and if it's really Friday, then it is highly recommended that you will have a shower. It doesn't mean that you wait until Friday, of course. If unless you are extremely, if there's something that would prevent you from doing that, lack of water or something happening in your life that prevents you from having a shower, then shower every day will be good enough. Summer, maybe even twice a day. Not, this is not by any way limiting or expanding. This is simply a suggestion. You don't want to offend people. This is why even you don't eat garlic and onion before going and to join the congregational prayer inside the mosque. You don't want to offend people, and if you happen to be in certain businesses, certain work, and you don't have time to go home, you should attempt. But I remember I knew two people, both friends, and one of them used to come from his meat shop, and I remember the other friend telling him that he shouldn't. He should change his clothing before coming to the congregational prayer, to the Salat al-Jama'ah. So this is part of it, and you look at some Imam Malik. He used to wear something beautiful. They say for the Friday prayer, wearing your best. Your best, it doesn't mean it's the most expensive. Clean, that's what it is. Nice and clean. If you have some طيب, some perfume that, and also shouldn't be offensive. People might surprise when I say that. Are there perfumes that are offensive? Oh yes. I'm not going to name the mosque in north of Jerusalem. In fact, it's between Jerusalem and Ramallah. I once stopped at a mosque, and the moment I entered opened the door of the mosque, and it was literally a very, very strong smell of perfume. It's the type that is but probably people would know it. Then what's next is that an invitation to eat, drink, and not to waste, not to go into excess, and ولا تسرفوا. How do we know whether one reached the level of excess or not? Well, if you throw food, then you are wasting. If you eat too much, overeat, that's also waste. You shouldn't, because it's really not the sunnah. That also we should understand that sometimes it could be a psychological state. People might not eat or overeat because of psychological reasons, and one should address the root cause of these things. Surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, surely He does not like the wasteful. Yes. And this was verse 31, the last one of the selection. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in verse 32, I'll just read it very quickly and finish this session inshallah. قل من حرم زينة الله التي أخرج لعباده والطيبات من الرزق. Addressing the Prophet ﷺ, still, who has forbidden, ask, who has forbidden the adornments and lawful provisions Allah has brought forth for His servants? There is something beautiful about people who are austere, minimalists, who dedicate their life to worship, who own practically nothing. But let's put it this way. If they have zero, they don't need anyone, but they don't have the money. Imagine all those who do need. Talk about building hospitals, clinics, schools, universities, infrastructure, and all the needy people, because you cannot really, in any society you will find, even during the time of Prophet ﷺ, sometimes you'll have needy people and you need to address. So if you do have, you can spend, and one should only make sure that it is always for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sincerity. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.